Hi, my name's Janelle and welcome back to Rosary Apparel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing everything that I have knitted for my me-made wardrobe. Even though here in Australia, I'm headed into summertime, I do feel like there is something cozy about this time of the year, and obviously those of you in the Northern Hemisphere are heading into cozy season, and so I thought it'd be a nice time to sit down and share some of my past knitting projects, as hopefully it will inspire you to have a go at knitting some items for your own wardrobe. I have been knitting since as long as I can remember, basically. I'm so fortunate to have a mum who is super creative and always encouraged crafting as I was growing up, and she is an incredible knitter and taught me from a very young age how to knit, and I've kind of been hooked ever since. I definitely am personally a mood knitter. I find I will kind of binge knit for months and then we'll just stop for months at a time as well. But I always do love having a knitting project on the go to be able to pick up whenever the mood strikes. And yeah, because of that, I have made quite a few items for my wardrobe that I am just so proud of. There's nothing like a hand knitted garment. It is just the most cozy, special thing ever. And yeah, I'm so excited to share everything I have knitted for my wardrobe over the last few years. This first item I have to share is one that I don't wear all that often, but it genuinely reignited my love for knitting, and because of that I just can never get rid of it. I love it so much, and that is this super chunky red cardigan. For a while there I kind of stopped knitting. I got really into crocheting. I crocheted a whole bunch of different blankets and things like that. I was really into crochet and kind of put knitting on the back burner a little bit, but then I discovered a brand called Wool and the Gang and I became obsessed. I needed to try one of their chunky cardigan knit kits, so I purchased this kit to create this cardigan. I don't even remember the name of the cardigan anymore, so I'll have it on the screen now and I'll try to link it in the description below if it's still available. I knitted this in 2019, kind of as I was just starting my YouTube channel, so you can actually go back to some of my earliest videos and you'll see me talk about this cardigan. And it's made out of super chunky yarn, which means it was really quick to knit. It was such a satisfying project to make, and after making this project I was super obsessed with knitting. Like, I have not stopped since, basically. And yeah, there's not much to say about this cardigan. Like I said, don't wear it that much. It's not exactly my style anymore, but when I did make it, I was obsessed with it. I was so proud that I'd made a knitted garment because I hadn't done that for many years. And sadly, another reason why I don't like wearing it is that the yarn is peeling quite a bit from wear, and I'm kind of scared if I wear it too much, it will just felt the yarn completely. So I've kind of put this one into storage to kind of keep as a keepsake, but genuinely now that I've pulled it out, I'm like, why don't I wear it more? It's so cute, especially with the outfit I'm wearing today. I think this red works perfectly, so maybe I do need to pull it out of storage more often and actually wear it again. The next item I have to show you is this mustard popcorn cardigan. I was very much inspired by the brand Misha and Puff to create this cardigan. They create the most beautiful hand knitted goods, predominantly for children, but they have started doing adult clothing too. And they had a cardigan just like this, and they called it a popcorn cardigan, which I just thought was the cutest thing ever. Basically, it just has hundreds of these little bobbles knitted into a very otherwise plain cardigan. My mum actually helped me come up with the pattern for this. So the pattern I used was just a plain old cardigan pattern, and then we figured out how often to stitch the bobbles to create this popcorn effect. And I am in love with this cardigan. I think it's going to be the sort of cardigan I will wear forever, and I genuinely just think it's so fun and so different to like your average knitted garment. I have shared a little snippet of how to go about knitting this in a very old video, and I'll try to see if I can find it and link it below so you can have a watch of that if you are interested in knitting something like this for yourself. And I'll also be sure to link Misha and Puff as well, so you can go check out some of their incredible pieces because they are honestly so inspiring. Next, I have two items that I made with the exact same pattern. Hands down, my favorite knitting pattern I have ever made, and that is my Rosary knit. I made this pink Rosary jumper back in 2020. I'm pretty sure it was 2020, and I used a vintage knitting pattern to be able to make this. It was just a knitting pattern I found at an op shop and I fell in love with it. It has created the cutest lacy texture. I am completely in love with it. It was also my first ever attempt at knitting a lace pattern like this. So if you are a somewhat confident knitter but have never done anything fancy or lacy like this before, I totally recommend you give it a try. You'll surprise yourself at just how easy it is. Once I shared me making this jumper and also shared the finished jumper once it was done, I got a lot of people asking if I could share the pattern, and because it was a vintage knitting pattern, I couldn't really find a link to it anywhere. So I ended up getting in touch with the original publishers of the pattern and asked whether or not they would be happy with me to kind of write it up and share it with my audience, and they said yes. So I have offered it as a free pattern ever since then. Yeah, I'm no knitting expert. I don't know how knitting patterns work, so I literally just copied the vintage knitting pattern that I used word for word, same sizes, everything. Sadly, because of that, the sizing is very much limited, but I'm so excited to share that a lovely person on Instagram got in touch with me. Their username is Sarah Gets Dressed. I'll leave their Instagram down in the description below. They very kindly spent a good solid amount of time grading the pattern to make it more size inclusive. So the pattern has been extended, and thank you so much again, Sarah, if you're watching this video. I cannot believe you spent your time doing that for this pattern and for the people who want to knit this pattern. So I just really appreciate it and genuinely am just blown away by your kindness. So I'll leave a link to the knitting pattern down below, which includes this new extended sizing rewrite. And yeah, I'm just so excited that that is now an option. But back to this jumper, I loved this pattern so much, but I found I wasn't wearing it as much as I would like because I'm just not a pink person. I love the color pink. It's my favorite color and I have it in my house a lot. I've also painted the floor in my sewing studio pink. Like, I am a pink fan, but I just don't like wearing it. It doesn't feel very me. This shade of pink is probably the only shade of pink I can get away with wearing. Because my skin is very peach toned, the pink just washes me out something shocking. And yeah, something about this pink does work, but I still just found I wasn't wearing it much because I just don't enjoy wearing pink all that much. So I decided, of course, to make the Rosary jumper in my favorite burnt orange shade instead, and I cannot begin to tell you how often I wear this jumper. I wear it all the time, and as you can see, it has stretched so much from wear, and so I thought, in order to hopefully shrink it, I put it in the washing machine, which was such a risk. I put it on a very gentle wool machine wash, and it unfortunately did not shrink it at all, but just stretched it out even more. It's definitely still wearable, but I'm someone who much prefers a more fitted knit because I like to wear them with my dresses mostly, and I just feel like a more fitted, less stretched knit just works better with dresses. And so I looked into my stash the other day and I did find a few balls of yarns in this shade. I don't know if there's enough to make a full garment, but there might be. And so I'm considering re-knitting this jumper to make it fit me better because it's just so big. It was always a bit too big for me because when I made it originally, I decided to make the second size and I definitely should have made the first size. Yeah, don't know what I was thinking there, but because of that, it was always slightly bigger than I'd like. And now that I've just worn it to death, it has just stretched more and more and more. And so yeah, I am considering re-knitting this jumper in the exact same shade, same yarn, everything. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I do that, or do you think that's overkill? Because yeah, I obviously have a perfectly functional jumper. It's just a little bit big on me now. What would you do? Let me know what you would do. I feel in two minds about it, but at the same time, I love this jumper so much and I just want it to fit me the way I want it to fit me. So I think I might jump in and do that. I do genuinely love knitting that knitting pattern. It's my favorite knitting pattern of all time. So I'm not upset to knit it again. I actually love the knitting process of that pattern. So yeah, stay tuned to see whether or not I end up re-knitting that whole jumper. Next, I have another cardigan. It is this, again, quite chunky cardigan. I used the Aosta Cardigan pattern by the Knit Pearl Girl. This was my first ever attempt at knitting an entire garment on circular knitting needles, which I'm really proud of. I love this cardigan. I wear it all the time. It's the perfect amount of chunky, but not too chunky. And because it's a cream color means it goes with pretty much any outfit. It's just a super easy, slouchy, comfy knit to just throw on to any outfit. I love it so much. After my Rosary jumper, this is my next most worn item. I could not be happier with this piece. It's got this really lovely texture, and I remember it being pretty easy to make. Like, I find I do get bored of projects if it is just plain knitting all the time. I need a bit of variation to keep me interested, and this one was perfect because it was made up of a few different rows from memory, and they would all be slightly different to make the knitting process just a bit more varied, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I could not be happier with how it turned out. I wear it all the time. Next, I have another real chunky knit. I could not be happier with how it turned out. It is this chunky peaches and cream knit that I made using a knitting kit again. This knitting kit was kindly gifted to me by Cardigan Knits, which is an incredible Australian knitting company. I am so in love with all of their designs, so when they got in touch offering me a knitting kit, I jumped at the opportunity. I'll leave them linked below, including this kit, if you did want to make a fun chunky knit like this one. I decided to go with this kind of peachy orange on the bottom and a creamy vanilla shade on top, which gives me ultimate peaches and cream vibes. I'm in love with it. It's such a cozy knit to just wear when it's super cold. Over winter we had quite a few frosty days, and this was my go-to. It just feels like wearing a blanket. It's honestly such a fun piece, and yeah, I'm in love with it. And the last piece I have to share is my most recently finished piece. It is this wavy striped jumper that I again used a vintage knitting pattern to make. This jumper honestly took me about 1.5 years to complete. I started making this jumper in March 2023 and I only just finished it in August. So it has been a long time in the works. It didn't take me 1.5 years to knit. I am, like I said, am just such a mood knitter. So I would binge knit for months at a time and then just forget about this project for months at a time. And then over winter I picked it up again, and I'm so glad that I finished it because it is just so different to the other items in my wardrobe. I love that it's striped, and as you can see with the mirror behind me, I have a bit of a thing for a wavy design at the moment. The colors I chose were kind of a little bit random, but at the same time feel very me. I've got the peach and mustardy colors that I love, but I also threw in kind of a curveball color, and that is this really dark green. It does look black on the camera, but it is just a beautiful dark forest green, and I'm in love with this color combo. I think it's just so fun, and it's just such a fun piece in general. It just makes any outfit with this jumper just a little bit different, and I love that. I am considering getting in touch with the original publisher of this vintage knitting pattern as well to see if I can do the same thing that I did with the Rosary knit and hopefully offer this pattern to my viewers. But if I can't do that, I will be sure to leave a link down in the description below of something at least a little bit similar that you could potentially use to make a knit just like this. This kind of wavy design is called Feather and Fan, and it again looks super impressive, but it's so easy. It's literally just 4 stitches that create that wavy line, and only one of those 4 stitches is ever so slightly complicated, but it's not complicated at all. You could honestly do it with your eyes shut. I knitted this whole thing while watching TV. It's the perfect TV knit. So yeah, that is everything I have knitted for my wardrobe over the last few years. Let me know in the comments below which of these knits you like best. I think I would have to choose the Rosary jumper just because the knitting process is so enjoyable. and the finished result is just, it looks so fancy, but it is so easy to knit, and I wear my Rosary jumper all of the time, literally multiple times a week. And yeah, I hope that this video has inspired you to have a go at potentially knitting something for your own wardrobe if you haven't already. It's honestly such a beautiful and cozy craft, and like I said, I just love having a knitting project on the go at all times to pick up while I'm watching TV and things like that. It's just such a beautiful craft, and I 100% recommend it. If you did enjoy this video, it would really mean a lot to me if you could give it a like, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more sewing and knitting type videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.